Hi everybody, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? I have had a crazy week, and so I have been just scrambling around like crazy. So, hello, I'm Connie, and today we're gonna scrapbook, and I like to go live every Wednesday at 2. You know, I lost track of what day of the week it was because we've had funeral things this week. We've been at my husband's aunt's house cleaning out a lot of her things with his cousins, trying to help them get everything taken care of. And it's just been kind of one of those sad weeks. And at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to purge my house because I never want my daughter to ever have to go through my things like this. It's just crazy over there. So we've been over there every single day, and I just lost track of the day. And her funeral was yesterday. It was very sad, but you know, when somebody really is ready to go, there's something about that makes it a little less sad. I mean, you know they're prepared, they're ready. Anyway, enough with that sad stuff. I know, it's sad. So in other words, today I'm off the cuff because I did not plan very much. I took about 15-20 minutes before I started, and I just sort of looked through my things, and I knew I wanted to use this Hey Handsome paper this week. I just didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And I have these pictures of my husband at the racetrack. He is getting ready to go again tomorrow morning, and he'll be gone all weekend for the to the racetrack. And so I have a lot of pictures of him and his car, okay? And so I thought this paper was perfect for that. So let me just show you what it is. So a lot of this is in those kind of more autumn looking colors. I mean, you're talking about this deep blue color, blue gray is called Harbor. And then there's black and white, and mink is kind of the softer gray on here. Paprika, instead of a bold red or a bold orange, they used paprika, which is more of an orangey, well, fall color to me. Pine is the deep green, and then rosemary is a color that's, I can't explain. It is a gray. It is a green. It's a gray green. That's what it is. And depending on what you put it with, it changes colors. And so they used that. And here, I really like the sticker sheet. I'll definitely be using some of the stickers. As a matter of fact, I looked up, and real quick, I looked up a quote by Ferdinand Porsche, and I wrote it on this little sticker tag with marker. It says, "Who told you that you should use the brakes? You should simply drive." And I thought that fits my husband pretty well, especially at the racetrack. So anyway, that I have that. And then these are the papers, and you can see I've been using them, so they're just parts and pieces right now. But one sheet is just kind of an all over print, and there's a lot of different things on here. So you could use this, like, there's food things, there's outdoor things, there's just generic signs, there's car things, motorcycle things. I mean, just whatever. It's just generic print. And the back of that is this paprika all over words, so front and back. And then there's this really cool pine print, and it coordinates. You may notice I pulled out a couple of stamp sets. This one is the Hey Handsome scrapbooking set, And this little stamp right here coordinates with this paper. So I thought that was kind of cool because you could make your own if you run out. And then the back is the dark blue. And then there's this really cool print, my favorite, which is, it reminds me of the tweed like car seats, actually. It's kind of got that tweedy print of an office chair or a car seat or something. And then the back of it is a stripe. And so those are the colors and the prints we're going to be dealing with. And then, you know, we have all of the different card stocks that coordinate. So I have these, I'm going to set these aside for a moment, and I want to make it so they don't fall off. Okay. And then I want to show you what I really want to do today. But since I am on the fly, one of the things in the catalog, this is on page 14, you know, this is like the, you know, entry page to, you know, each of the paper packs have like a art page. And I really love this layout right here. This layout is so cool. And you look at that and, you know, if you just don't look at the picture and you just look at the layout, you can use this on this whole idea for a lot of different kinds of paper. You could use this paper pack for a lot of different things. So I thought it would be fun to recreate this page and then make like a second page because I have enough photos, right? Hi, Margie. Okay, anyway. Whew, I gotta get focused though. You can't believe like all of the stuff that we brought from his aunt's house. The kids are not sentimental in any way. Nothing is meaningful to them. They didn't really keep even photos. They're like, whatever. And so my daughter and I, who are both very sentimental, of course, are like wanting to keep everything sentimental. So, and you get Steve's mom into the mix with her sister, you know, dying, and we're all like taking home all the heirlooms because we're all freaking out that they're just going to toss them in a dumpster or something. So sad. Anyway, so I think what we'll do is we'll focus on creating this page and then we'll do a page 2. So what I did ahead was basically I just got out the background paper and I cut this white paper down to 11.5 by 11.5. And then I did it so that we'll have a 2-page spread. So I'm going to set this one aside and we'll just focus on this one. We'll recreate this one. Let me make sure it's in camera. Very good. And it looks like, if you really look at this, basically they just put little, it looks like 2-inch squares. I kind of looked at it's 11.5. I kind of looked at the halfway point. From point to point, that would be approximately, 5.5, almost 6 inches. So if you used a 3-inch square, it would be 3 inches, you know, this way, but the points would be wider. So that's how I came up with 2. I'm gonna use 2. And then I really quick chopped down a whole bunch of 2-inch squares because, and I didn't know how many of each we would need, but I did some of the prints, and then I did a whole bunch of the cardstock pieces. And I thought if I didn't use them on the first page, I'd use them on the second page, right? So to start out with, I'm going to start with that grid and just try to lay it out a little bit. Excuse me. And, you know, see what we got here. So it looks like, let me just lay these out a little bit so I can grab them. These are my print ones that I did. I'm going to set them off to the side over here. Okay, so at the very top, this is the color mink. And you know, mink has two sides, and it looks like they used the darker side at the top. So I'm just gonna set that there. And then they have a print here and a papaya print or a papaya cardstock here. So here's the start. This is kind of where I'm starting from. And then they have right here, they have, if you can barely see it because they've got stuff on top of it, but they used this blue. This is Harbor, I'm calling it blue. And it has, you know, that pattern on it, and just so happened to come out like this, but I'll probably be covering some of it up too. And then they have another of the seat, what I call the seat print, right? Let's see. And then they have kind of one of these off to the side. I'll have to turn that in a minute and see which way looks good. They have Harbor. And you can, you know, flip and turn. That looks bigger than 2 inches. Let me just check that. I have my cutter off to the side today because I've been, I figured I would need it over here to the side, and it's hard to get everything on camera. So, oh, it looks like they used some black. I did not pull out black. That goes there. Pine here, that's pine. And then another black. So 1, 2, 3 black. I didn't pull out my black. I'm gonna have to cut a couple of those. And I have this, and I have a stripe. Now see, I'm a little off. Maybe these are like 1 3/4 or something. Or maybe I just need to move everything up. I like the 2-inch size. I'm pretty close. I'll make it work. Maybe it needs more of an angle even. So, all right, like that. I like that. That's neat. And then we have this print here. We have another piece of mink down here. I kind of like the softer side of the mink. I may flip those over and use the softer side. And then what else do we have? I think that's pretty good. It looks like we have another of the blue down here in the very corner. And I thought I cut 2 of them, but apparently not. What's on the other side of this? Orange. I'm just looking to see, maybe I did that one thinking I did it twice. Anyway, pretty good. And then I could just use a regular Harbor down here like that. I like that. Okay, so I need 1, 2, 3 2-inch pieces of black. Let me grab it. I have some black cardstock here. I'm just gonna chop off a few 2-inch pieces. So what's everybody else doing today? We just got back from Steve's aunt's house, where my crazy daughter has fallen in love with all of my aunt's antiques. And since none of the kids wanted any of them, OMG, Jen brought them home. So yeah, we have antiques in the house now. It's not my style. I don't love antiques. Wow, that black is like bold. I don't know how I feel about that. All right, it's okay. It'll be fine. All right, now this piece right here, if you look closely at it, it's darker than mink, and it has that pattern, this pattern on it. So it used that stamp set, and I think it is the rosemary on the light side. That's what I think it is. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put the other pieces aside, and real quick, I'm gonna whip out my stamps here. So for myself, the thing that I fell in love with of Steve's Ants that I had to have. Okay. It's a little longer than my block, but that's okay. I am a weird person when it comes to cookbooks. And I don't want just any old cookbook. I don't like, I'm not talking about the cookbooks that you go to the store and buy. I'm talking about like the church ones where everybody, you know, contributes a recipe. And you know that people, I'm going to use Harbor ink on this. Let's see. And they did this pattern up and down, like, okay. I'm on scratch paper here. I haven't used this. This is risky because I haven't used this stamp set yet, but that's okay. I'll just wing it. So she had like 10 of those cookbooks that, you know, the churches and the schools put together and stuff, you know, the ones where people kind of contribute and bring their best recipes to, you know, their family recipes. I love it. Oh my gosh, that looks so cool. Okay. I may use that again, so I'm going to set that aside for a minute. My table is only so big under the camera, right? Now, one of the reasons I didn't stick this white one down is because I thought I could glue these on and then trim them after, right? So while I glue these down, I'm gonna move my picture out of the way a little bit. And I'm gonna move this bottom sheet out of the way. Okay, now I can, and you know, this one has a little camera stamp on it. I may wait until I get that put into place. All right, I have them all, and I am ready. I think I'll get out my other runner. It's just a little faster and easier if I do this. So my husband's mother wanted all of the antiques of the house, and the kids were so anxious to just empty the house that we went over and like to pack everything up for her. And I gotta tell you, it's such a sad day when somebody goes through all of your stuff that you live with every day. You know, the stuff that you, I hope you can see this on camera. My camera keeps sinking. I think I need to tighten all my little bolts and stuff. Anyway, you know, nobody wanted all of her baking dishes and her pots and pans, and you know, everybody's got their own, and I understand that. But so Steve and I loaded up a couple times and went to Salt and Light and donated a bunch of things. And I'll tell you, it's rough. The worst is she has she has 2 little cats. They're just as sweet as can be. That have been, you know, they've had like a very nice life, very good life, and they can't be split up. They're sister and brother. They've been together their entire lives, and none of us are in a situation where we can take cats. So We do not know what's going to happen to the babies. If any of you want a couple of black cats that are super sweet, boy, just give me the word, because I can set you up. They are adorable. Every time we go over there, that's all we get done. We sit there and play with the cats. It's a little crooked. I'll just leave it. So that is what our week has been like. And then Steve goes to the racetrack tomorrow. And I don't know what I'm going to do while he's gone. I really need to go to Paris. I have an uncle who's not doing well. So I have just been a ray of sunshine on here, talking about people, old people, and getting old. Or getting old and getting sick. It sucks. I just want you to know. I feel bad for... In some ways, it's like, man, when Steve and I did our wills and stuff, we talked to Jen a long time about what we want done with our poor little critters. I think that goes up higher. And it's a very hard thing when she likes cats. She's not a big dog lover. And it's very hard to think, well, she may have to take care of the cat and the dog together if something would happen to us. But she said she was ready. She's like, I can do it. She would never get rid of them. So I wish we could take my aunt. Now see, I am off just a little. So even doing this way, I'm off just a little bit. So instead of a 2-inch square on this must be like a 1 3/4 inch squares, because I feel like I've been following this pretty well and I'm a little off. So if you decide to do this page, you might make your squares just a smidge smaller. There is recipes for all of these, but the recipes are not how-tos. They're more like, we use this, we use that. I mean, it's more like, what you need to make the page. If you go under my website, under the word that says more, one of the options is to look at the catalogs and to look at the recipes. And okay, this is the one that I made right there. Now in their example, the one that goes right here is covered up. It's entirely covered up by this piece here. I do not know whether or not I am going to, I don't know why I'm doing that. Let me do this instead. All right. So whatever I put here, it's going to show on mine possibly, but it did not show on their sample the way that they clustered their embellishments. And I may do the exact same thing because I am recreating this page, but I do want to grab another. I think I really like that. I'm not sure which color. I could do the mink again. Oh, the mink looks nice. Okay, I'll do that. And I like that light side kind of better than the dark side. You can pick. I mean, it's your page. All right. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is trying to keep your points parallel so they're not, wonky when you go down the page. Now, I just eyeballed it, but, you could always use, a T ruler and just, let's see how close I was, use a T-ruler and just kind of line up your points as you go. I'm a little off, but not crazy, not too out of control. Now the next thing I need to do is trim all the edges. I'm going to do that on my trimmer just for the sake of time. I would normally just get out my scissors. Maybe I will just get out my scissors because it doesn't fit in the trimmer great anyway. And I'm just going to trim those just like that. I have a little adhesive on that black one. So it's supposed to rain all weekend, and I told Steve I was worried about him at the racetrack. Whenever it's a rainy weekend, it's kind of sucky. And they have, like, you know, when you're going almost 200 miles an hour or whatever, you don't want to be like skidding off the racetrack, right? I mean, it's kind of scary. And could be an expensive mistake. So he uses special wheels, special tires when it's raining versus when it's dry. And so he came home early today and is out packing his trailer. I didn't show you this picture, but it's the craziest thing. He actually pulls a trailer behind his Porsche. It's ridiculous. All I can imagine is driving down the road, seeing some dude in a Porsche pulling a trailer behind it, and all these people like taking pictures of it because it's the craziest thing you've ever seen. But I do have some pictures I'll have to show you. Okay, anyway, so I am ready to adhere my 11.5 by 11.5 piece of white that we put our squares on onto this background page. I really love how this looks. I don't know if you guys can see it, but gosh, in real life, this is a very cool start to a page. And I think I might do that with I might recreate this page with other paper packs because it's really neat. Now, the other thing that I would normally do is gut this page. You've seen me gut paper all the time. You've seen me do it all the time because I like to save the cool pattern. And the only reason I'm not doing it is because I purchased the bulk pack, which is all this print with this on the back. And I have like 24 sheets of it. So I don't really care if I'm a little, you know, generous with this right now. I'm going to move my camera. Don't get seasick or anything. It's just, I don't know. The crookedness is bugging me. Anyway, but normally I would go ahead and gut this and I would just attach this, you know. You want about a 1/4 inch kind of reveal all the way around the edge. Try to make it as kind of even as you can. And then you have this really cool page started, right? So when we look at this page, let's see what else is on here. I just want to point out a few things. So they have a probably 4x6-ish, maybe even, I'd say 4x6 picture. Here on the side, I thought it would be cool to use the one of my husband and his helmet. And so I cut a mat, and I cut black, but I didn't attach it because I wasn't sure. Black, I wasn't sure. They have it as black. There you go. And then they, above the picture, they used one of the zip strips to put at the top. And I thought, well, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. So I am going to do that as well. And I'm just going to make it so it's even. I think it needs to be a little shorter. There we go. So there's that. Now, I did not want this to say So handsome. Although that's part of the sticker sheet, okay? There's love you so and so handsome, and each of those are individual letters that you pop off to spell out words, so you can use those letters any way you want. In my case though, I kind of wanted it to be more of kind of race tracky, and so I used my alphabet and I stamped on a piece of the mink cardstock, and this is the alphabet. It's the Havana alphabet. And I wrote Putnam Park because that's where all these pictures were taken, and I just think that looks pretty cool. And so I'm just gonna trim that and hope I'm straight. I'm not very good at making these nice and straight, but close enough. All right, so I like that. Instead of the so handsome and the little arrows and things, I may put an arrow or something down there, but right now I'm not sure. And then when you look at the other icons that they added, they put in the tag sticker, which I showed you. I took the tag sticker and I wrote that quote from Ferdinand Porsche on it because I just thought it was really cool. But that means I got to have the whole tag show. So wherever I put it, the entire tag is gonna have to show. And so I'm not sure exactly yet where I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it right there just for now. And then they used this premium quality authentic stamp. It's part of this stamp set right here. And it's a big stamp. I mean, that's a hunker. That's a big one. And so I did go ahead and I stamped it in charcoal because I didn't want it to be, I think they did it in Harbor, but I just didn't want it to be quite so dark. But I do like that. That's nice. The little bow tie does not fit with my pictures. Any of my pictures for that matter. I can't even think of a picture in my arsenal that the bow tie goes with, but it is here. And then they used this awesome down here, which I think is great, so I'll use it. I'm putting this on my no stick mat over here, so they're easy to peel up. They don't stick, to it. It's just a way to keep track of what I'm actually going to use. The little pine tree actually works great for Putnam Park. I may move it and put it more with the title. I may move it around just a little bit because, I'm messing around with this section a little. And then they have this little, compass sticker, which does fit really good. So I'm going to use that. Now, the glasses don't really fit. I'm not going to use them, but that is part of the acrylic pack. There is the acrylic pieces that you can buy with this collection, and I did not buy those. But they do have glasses as part of the sticker sheet, and you can use the Picture My Life cards and cut glasses or whatever out of those. The other one that they used is this little bicycle, which does not fit with my Porsche collection. And so I kind of really like the way this looks. Now they used an acrylic right here. They used an acrylic arrow, and then this arrow is a stamped arrow from this set. So I could use an arrow. Not sure what I'm gonna do yet. And then they have a whole bunch of stars that they used. Like there's lots of stars on here from the sticker sheet. So I'm gonna think about that for a minute. And then they have a couple of little lines down here that they did for journaling down here at the bottom. I probably will not journal there. I don't know, maybe. I don't know yet. But I am going to go ahead and start putting this together. And I think this page is really cool. Where are we at? We're at 230-ish. So that's not terrible for a page like this to take half an hour or whatever. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now they show this way over here. That works. And then I can use my embellishments. You know, I'm going to go ahead and put this down here at the bottom so I don't... I started to stamp it in Harbor ink on the other side, and I really did not like it. So I flipped it to black. And instead of wasting the paper, I went ahead and just flipped it over and used it. I'm a little bit like that. I'm a little bit thrifty, I guess. Okay. I hope you guys are taking advantage of the Cardstock Carnival sale. Man, it's amazing. It is amazing. So they kind of put this, I guess the north has to be up. You gotta do north, south, east, west, right? And they kind of put it here, and it's overlapping the picture just a little bit. Actually, their squares have to be a little bit different sized than mine. I think I'm going to put this on just a little bit of foam tape because I want to tuck a little behind it. All right, let's see if I can get my foam tape working. This is a piece I stamped and I cut out on cardstock, so it's not sticky on the back like a sticker would be. Much easier to put foam tape on, right? Yeah, so Steve goes to the track about, oh, I know, 4, 5, 6 times a year. I don't know. We've lost track. I lose track. It's very boring. I don't go with him. Everybody is always like, why don't you go? And I'm like, because it's boring to watch people drive around in circles. And Steve's been doing it for a number of years now. And he really, really loves it. And he's good. They want him to become... So one of the things that the Porsche Club does... Try to decide where I want this cool saying. Like they have it tucked up here, but it's behind here a little bit, and I want the whole thing to show. So that really does, you know, throw a wrench in my plan here. I think I'm just gonna do that. And then I think I have, you know what? I have another little picture. Hold on a minute. I could just put that little picture of his car there. Let me see. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with that picture anyway. When they take pictures of their cars at the track and they're, you know, they're going 100 and, I don't know, 80 or whatever. Everything in the background is just a blur, of course. And so... Oh yeah, that looks cool. I like that. All right, that's the plan. So that it's weird to have a photograph where the whole entire background is just a big blur. It reminds me of when we were growing up and we used to take those pictures and not have a clue what they were going to look like until you got them and you didn't realize you shook the camera or whatever. And the whole background was a big blurry mess. And then you're like, well, I got to use it anyway. It's the only thing I got. Anyway. anyway, so basically that's pretty cool. That's a really good page. I think I am gonna grab this little arrow. Let me see if it'll fit on a 2-inch block. Yeah, just like that. And they did this in black ink, but I'm gonna just use, I think I'm just gonna use Harbor because I have it out. I could use Rosemary. I just grabbed a few colors of inks and I wasn't sure what I would use. Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and just stamp 2 like this. And then I can do just a little bit of journaling down here at the bottom. I think it'll look pretty good. And then stars. So the only thing left, they have some black embellishments here and here. I want to kind of look through my stash because over the years, you know, I've collected race car stickers and things and whatever, paper. I know Stampin' Up, I just bought paper from them that has like, I think it was for motorcycles, but it had like race tire marks, skid mark, kind of. A lot of you like Stampin' Up, so you know what I'm talking about. And so I can add that a little bit to here. But I do think I'm gonna stamp a few of the stars. Now we have stickers. I could totally use stickers, but you know I like to stamp in my books. And I like to take advantage of these stamps when I have them, because what happens to me anyway, is, you know, I fall in love with them and they're so cool. I have to have them. And then the next cool thing comes out and I put these in a pile somewhere and, you know, do they get used? Not as often as I want to. So let's see. This is my black. So I think I'm just gonna put a few stamps kind of where they put embellishments. They put them here and they put one up here too. And clean that off. And then I have this other one and I think I'm gonna do it in the papaya color. I don't know what that'll look like on green. It's not terrible. Like that. And maybe I'll do it in the Harbor color too. All right, what do you guys think? This page is cool. You know, I've used like all the time that I allotted for this, but I want to do a second page. So as long as you're with me, I'm going to just keep going. And I understand if like this is too long, gotta go, Connie, this is too much. I get it. But look how cool this page is. There it is. There's the original and my recreation. I love it. This is really neat. So I just need to journal, add dates. Wow, really, really neat. So I would do it exactly the same way I did again, but if you want to really match this page perfect, I think these squares are just a tiny bit smaller. Tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to pull in this page. Now, we don't have anything that we're going off of, so I'm going to put the left page down just so we can see what it looks like. Now, you guys, last week, I told you that, you know, that one, Laura Beecham from Australia, she made that, she started this big trend of the strips with the acetate and making cool card backgrounds and stuff. And I thought, okay, then let's use this on like a scrapbook page. And so the other day I was messing around with this paper pack, and I made this, and I thought this would be really cool on a scrapbook page. And I used cardstock instead of acetate. And I don't know, I just thought it looked really, really neat. So I think with the, squares of the original page, having these smaller squares are pretty cool. I like how that looks. And I think that's, I'm gonna do that. It makes kind of a border over here. I like it. So again, this is just strips, and I laid them in a diagonal across the page, and I actually tried to line them up as much as I could instead of offsetting them. And I used a combination of some of the zip strips and some of the cardstock and some of the patterns. So that's how I got that. And then I have all these extra pieces. I don't know whether or not I need to use them or not, but I was like, well, I have them. So if I decide to use them, I do have quite a few. I mean, I don't know. I could do something, on the side just to make it look cool. I don't know. Why is that not 2 inches? That's another one that I did. I trimmed it. I think originally I thought they were 2 1/4, and I made them 2 1/4 and then changed it up. Oh, I do kind of like that, you guys. What do you think? That's not bad. So the photos that I have, you probably should see those so you know where I'm going. I have this picture of Steve in his car and him driving on the track, and I went ahead and matted these in black and that one in papaya because I thought, it'll look fine. And so I just have to decide how I want to arrange my pictures. So I kind of like this one as the main focal point because it's just really cool. And I thought about popping it up. So I could put it like this. It's okay. I could put these over here. That covers up all my coolness over there. So yeah, let's try this. I'm just moving them around, trying to decide what I like the best. Any opinions? I'm listening. So I don't know. I think that's okay. If I do it like this, I have a little more room for decorating. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this border. I do like this border. In order to make this border work, I'm going to not put adhesive all the way to the edge so that I can tuck these things under. Since I'm not totally sure what the heck I'm doing yet, I just want to make sure that I can fiddle around a little bit with those. All right. And then I'm going to move my pictures a moment. And I think I kind of would like, I think I am going to go ahead and put these on. I'm just, come on, glue. I'm just going to use glue and tuck those in. That way I can move them around if I decide to. I'm tucking. I really like the black on it. I feel like it needs a little more black possibly. All right. Raise that a little bit and tuck. All right, yeah. I'm pushing this all down because I like that. Ah, neato. Now the other thing I thought is, you know, if I put my photos down like this, oh, I like that. This one's gonna have to be elevated a little bit or something, popped up or something. I thought about adding that cool stamp again, you know, just like off to the side, just to add a little something. So I think that will be in Harbor. And it will be covered, so I don't have to make it totally perfect, but I do like having a little inky something on that page like that. That adds to it. And then the other thing, I stamped and cut out this looking good and this little camera. And I think those could look good on the page also. I'm not exactly sure where. I also pulled a couple of, PML cards just to see if it's something I would want to use. And I could use the little tab. Although the sticker sheet has some really neat tabs. They have these and these that look like washi tape. There's also all these like words at the bottom. Any of those would look really cool. I'm not as crazy about the pennants on this page, but I might use that on another, like on another page, you know? I love the Wild and Free just because when he drives, you know, seriously. I might use that on another page. I got lots of car pictures. So I like this. I like this a lot. I am going to do something with this. Okay, so move that off. Let me get this glued down so that I can mess around here. When I'm not trying to follow someone else's directions and I'm just sort of doing my own thing, I am a really fast scrapbooker. I have a tendency to, you know, kind of have a vision of where I'm going, and, you know, for the most part, I can get a page like this done pretty quick. Now, if I'm following a picture though, and I'm trying to make it perfect, it takes me longer. Okay, like that. And it really helps. I know it sounds just ridiculous, but it really does help to have a lot of colors of cardstock that you can pull out, because you know, there are other colors that will go just fine with this layout, and you wouldn't have to just stick with the theme here. All right, let me find my foam tape that I set down somewhere. I'm gonna pop this picture up because I just think it needs it. Now, not everybody is a big foam tape user. I'm totally cool with that. I am careful about how much my books stick up and stuff. But when I do use foam tape, this is what I do. You guys are gonna think it's crazy, but I use a lot of it because the idea is to make it so that it doesn't, like when you do put it in your book, you don't want like a gap, like it to sag right here where there's no foam tape, you know, like it'll actually waver in your book. So keep that in mind when you're, Close to My Heart really does love their foam tape, and I do too, but I am careful when I use it to use enough where it doesn't have saggy bits in my books. So the other day, one of my cousins asked me how fast I had driven the car. And before Steve had started tracking his car, I used to drive it out in the country really fast. I can drive really, really fast. Now, when they go to the track, they have to wear helmets, and they have this thing that I can't remember what it's called. It's got some weird German name or something, but it keeps them attached. It like attaches the helmet to the seat so your neck doesn't like snap. How's that for a weird thing? But and he's like, I don't think I could drive on the track with that. I'm too claustrophobic to drive with that big helmet on. And it bothers me to not be able to lift my head and look around, like look behind. But you're going so fast, you can't really look behind anyway. You have to use your mirrors. And then if somebody comes up on you, you have to like have enough, you know, you have to have your windows open, and you have to stick your arm out and wave them on so that they know you know they're there and they can pass. It's a little different than on the city streets. It's not very much fun, honestly, to ride with Steve on a normal city street, because he drives a little bit like Grandpa Jones everywhere, except in the, oh, that looks really cool, doesn't it? Does it add to it or not? I like it here, and I feel like I need to add it over here somewhere, but and then when he goes around the like clover leaves of the highway and stuff, you feel like you've got to hang on with all your might. It's just one of those things. It's just weird how he does it. I kind of like the cleanness of the white. I'm gonna put that off for a minute. Okay, time for more stars. So I think I'll put a few right there and a few right here. It's interesting, the whole track thing. So the Porsche Club, what they do is they have classes for people who are new to being on the track so that they learn all the rules. It's kind of like in boating, you know, when you first start driving a boat, you know, there's all these rules about, you know, how to go around the buoys and what's okay and what's not okay, and you know, all that stuff. It's very similar to me in my head to that, where there's a lot of rules you have to know before you go out on a racetrack. And some people, you know, they have a fast car and they think that they can just drive fast, and that's all. But there's a lot of rules. All right, I think that's it. I think that's my pages. Boy, do I love that. This is really, really cool. So this is just my version. You know, we duplicated this page, and then this is my page 2. And I am going to be doing a lot of racetrack pages on this paper. So instead of showing it all in my lives, I may just be showing you pictures. You know, I'll put in posts as I create, but I just love this so much. And part of this too is, you know, Steve has a room where I like to hang car related things in this one room that we play video games in. And I think this one would be really cool for hanging up in that room because it's just fun. It's just really fun. All right. Thanks everybody. And thanks for supporting me through my sad story about my week. And I promise things will be looking up next week. And don't forget to look at the Cardstock Carnival. The deals are big. Next week, I'm also going to show the May scrapbooking month special. I kind of gave you a sneak peek of the paper, but I did the layouts, and holy moly, are they amazing. I cannot wait to show you those. So that's coming up. So keep your eyes out. And I hope you have a great afternoon. Thanks for watching me, you all. Bye-bye.